Has Boris Johnson spoilt the Queen's summer? You've probably heard that the British Prime Minister is stepping down. But what you might not know is that it's the Queen's job to meet with the new Prime Minister. When they meet, she'll ask whether they'll form a government, to which they'll probably say yes. But just to be clear, this doesn't mean that the Queen will choose the new PM. In fact, the last time a monarch tried to force their choice of political leader was 1834, and it didn't work.
Exterminate.
So the UK will find out who the new Prime Minister is on the 5th of September, and that means that the royal meeting will clash with the Queen's annual summer holiday in Scotland. So the monarch might have to travel 800 miles down to London to welcome her 15th PM and to formally receive Boris's resignation. He's actually already called Her Majesty to tell her that he's stepping down. And this is far from the first time that they've spoken.
Lovely to see you again.
The Queen catches up with the sitting Prime Minister every Wednesday to discuss political matters. But what does that mean? The Prime Minister keeps the Queen up to date with what is going on and any problems that they might have. And sometimes she might even give her opinion. Harold Wilson once said that the Queen does her homework ahead of these meetings and that on one particular occasion he hadn't done his, but that she was very nice about it. And Tony Blair once said that he found her useful and sometimes deeply insightful. But although I'm sure we'd all love to, we don't know much more about these conversations than that. They and the Queen's political views are kept totally private. Apart from these weekly chats, the monarch's role in UK democracy is entirely symbolic. Each year, she reads the Queen's speech to open Parliament.
My government intends to work towards a new partnership with the European Union.
But this is actually written by her Prime Ministers. And the Queen doesn't have any power to pass laws. Every bill that goes through Parliament needs the monarch's approval. But even this is considered a formality.
Most extraordinary, isn't it?
Because although the Queen could prevent a bill from becoming law, this hasn't happened since Queen Anne, who used the royal veto in 1708. But of course, the Queen doesn't only work in politics. As head of the British state, it's her job to represent the UK and its people at home and abroad. And she does this through public trips and by meeting foreign heads of state. And of course, the Queen and her family are always busy working with charities and organisations. In fact, the Queen alone supports over 600.
God save the Queen!
For more Royal Explainers, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for tuning in again. Here's your moment of Zen.